By nature, protagonists range from blank slates to fairly well developed but changeable entities, as they need to be receptive and responsive to our input when we take control. Thus, often as not, it falls on the supporting or side characters to provide most of the colour to video games. And boy, do they ever. Now, there's a very good mantra about how not everyone can be your best friend, and yet very few people would have a bad word to say about the following video game superstars. So, I'm Sai, this is What Culture, and here are 10 video game side characters everyone loves. Number 10, Cheeseburger, Far Cry 5. Far Cry started out as a pretty rote first-person shooter where a stock US special ops guy hunts for a missing journalist on an island full of mercenaries. Lucky for us, the game was successful enough to warrant a sequel, and as the anthology series has progressed over the years, it's become more adventurous in its storylines, locations, and characters. Far Cry 5 finds the series right in the middle of its heyday, sending up American religious and political fundamentalism as you join the fight against Eden's Gate, a fanatical doomsday cult that has taken over the fictional Hope County under the guidance of charismatic leader Joseph Seed. While Seed and his cohorts are colourful enough, they're not exactly likeable, so instead we look to the supporting cast on your side for one of the modern greats of video game companions, and it's Cheeseburger. Preceded by his in-game legend, Cheeseburger is a diabetic, burger-munching grizzly bear who you have to convince to join the resistance with an offering of food. And once on your side, he becomes a gun for hire, a fang for hire maybe, that you can select to join you on missions where he lumbers in, distracts foes away from you, and then rips them to pieces, exercising his right to bear arms. Get it? That said, he's a good boy really, I promise. Number 9, youngster Pokemon trainer, aka the Shorts guy from Pokemon Red, Blue and Yellow. Kicking off several decades of love for the franchise, Pokemon Red, Blue and Yellow for the Game Boy are iconic. Truly, few games have gripped the entire world like this did back in the mid to late 90s. And of course, coming with it are a whole host of memorable character designs. There are, of course, gym leaders like Sabrina, Team Rocket head honcho Giovanni, your rival Blue, or Poop Face if you named him that way, and all the old familiars like Professor Oak, Brock and Misty. And whilst all of these characters make a pretty iconic set, there's only one that's become a meme in his own right, and he only has like 2 lines of dialogue. I am, of course, talking about a very specific youngster trainer that has become known as Shorts Guy. Found on Route 3 right near the beginning of the game, Shorts Guy is just an NPC who wants to battle you, and whilst he lacks a lot in character development, he makes up for in his catchphrase, "I like shorts, they're comfy and easy to wear." Yep, that's what I say before I aggressively attack someone with my pets. Ugh. An instant hit before even the age of the internet meme was even a consideration, and one that the creators have recognised the fan response to by including and referencing in several other games since. Long live Shorts Guy. Number 8, Sans, Undertale. Indie 16-bit RPG Undertale has had a storied life since release, becoming a darling for PC gamers in particular, but enjoying fresh bouts of popularity with each subsequent port. The game takes place in the dark, dank underground, a region under the surface of the earth where all banished monsters dwell, and it's your job to guide human child Frisk back to the surface without getting splatted. One of the major selling points of the game is the opportunity it offers to make decisions, especially when either vanquishing or subduing monsters, which has an effect on many aspects of the game, including dialogue, characters, and narrative outcomes. The other major selling point is Sans. The totem of the game, Sans, whose name refers to the Comic Sans font used for most of his in-game dialogue, is a pun-obsessed skeleton who turns bad or good depending on which narrative path you choose. Despite being an incredibly difficult boss to best, players attach to him like limpets thanks to his cheesy puns, super quotable lines, and generally cheeky demeanour. You don't have to go far on the internet to find tribute videos, parodies, and merch galore. It also helps that Megalovania, the music that plays during his boss fight, is one of the best video game pieces of music like ever. But my favourite Sans quote, "Birds are singing, flowers are blooming, on days like this, kids like you should be burning in hell." It's poetry, frankly. Number 7, Esquie, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Epic fantasy RPG Clair Obscur is a pretty heavy game at times. I mean, for one thing, the story setup is every year a mystical godlike being called the Paintress killing a whole age bracket of people, erasing them from existence. We join the action on Expedition 33 with a group of volunteers sent to find and slay the paintress before she can do it all over again. The expedition is brutal and the game has garnered a reputation for breaking players' hearts, but there is one light in the darkness. Your group enlists the help of the mythical creature known as Esquie, who has a great big body, a tiny little happy sunhead, and a lovely way of seeing the world. He's a useful character to have on hand, acting as a mount, a loot collector, and frankly a goofy, fun-loving source of amusement. He has a childlike amazement and appreciation for everything, including his pet rocks. He has an inability to keep secrets, and also the one time he's shown to engage in combat, he's hilariously overpowered. Some of his scenes, particularly with Verso, with whom he holds a special long-standing relationship, are some of the best and most quotable in the game. That is to say, I won't spoil it, but he makes players feel wee rather than woo. So much so that people have been asking for an officially released Esquie plush since day one, and I'm people in this regard. Where's my Esquie plushie? Number 6, The Merchant, Resident Evil 4. Resi 4 finds us taking up arms as Leon Kennedy once again, this time a US government agent sent to save the president's daughter from a parasite-controlled cult in rural Europe. This setting, of course, means that the game departs from some of the more high-tech sci-fi elements of the previous entries and adopts a decidedly old-world feel and sensibility across its setting and characters. And who better embodies this vibe than The Merchant, who blends a spooky fantasy fairy tale style with futuristic elements like high-powered machine guns and body armour. The Merchant is a mysterious masked NPC who trades weapons and other items for your odds, ends and junk, and he does so spouting off some pretty simple voice lines that have gone on to define the game. Altogether now, what are you buying? One of the more absurd elements in an already bonkers video game, fans were quick to latch onto the character back in 2005 and spent the next decade and a half dreaming of the day they'd see the creepy, goofy oddity pop up again, and sure enough, he's in the remake, and he's just as good as he ever was. He's got one-liners, he's got everything you need when you need it, and he's always happy to see you. What more could a humble gamer ask for? Number 5, Nigel and Mrs. Thornhill, Grand Theft Auto 5. Grand Theft Auto 5 is a veritable treasure trove of satire, memes and pop culture takedowns, as Rockstar have always thrived on taking Western society's obsessions and laundering them into their games for maximum effect. Given this, few of the characters you encounter during your time in GTA 5's campaign are all that serious, but some really go that extra mile to define themselves. Enter old-age British tourists Nigel and Mrs. Thornhill, recurring characters in the Strangers and Freaks missions, who want to take home nothing less than a solid piece of the lives of their favourite celebrities. Ready-made memes, the pair of them, the game takes great delight in juxtaposing their age, accents and sartorial choice with their often bloodthirsty need for celebrity depravity. Idiosyncratic to a fault, Nigel refers to his wife as Mrs. Thornhill throughout, and the pair mistake Trevor for one of their all-time favourite actors, Jock Cranley, a character only seen briefly as one of the candidates in the Los Santos election, which is of course riffing on actors turned politicians like Ronald Reagan. To add to the shenanigans, there are no boundaries the Thornhills are not willing to cross in order to get what they want, up to and including murder. And we're all sorry when we've seen the last of them. Here's hoping they find their way to the other side of the map for GTA 6. Number 4, The Guards, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Fantasy action RPG series Elder Scrolls has always had a strong supporting cast of NPCs, and developers at Bethesda have increasingly paid more attention to the guards, arguably the least important figures in the games, imbuing them with amusing phrases and even backstories. And no backstory is more famous and few characters more memeable than the Skyrim guard who took an arrow to the knee. You knew it was coming. The guards are just kind of everyday fellas, and their dialogue was written with that idea in mind, spouting mindless chit-chat, being dramatic and over the top, and sometimes cozying up to you, offering to pay your fines, all depending on how much they dig you or indeed how infamous you've become. But a few guards have a personal story to tell, recounting how they themselves used to be an adventurer
like you, and I took an arrow in the knee.
And on that day, 1 million memes were born. Since Skyrim's release 14 years ago, the character and this line has taken on a life of its own well outside the game. There was a time when it felt like everyone knew the quote, although most of the people repeating it couldn't tell you why or where it was from, which I suppose is the true hallmark of a side character success story. Number 3, Ghost, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Call of Duty has been going on for some 22 years now, but never has it been able to replicate the heady and dizzying heights of the Modern Warfare days, where online multiplayer had hit the mainstream and the mass monetization of games was very much a thing of the future. Nestled in the sweet spot was the legendary Modern Warfare 2 with a strong on- and offline multiplayer, a thrilling campaign, and the kind of characters you'd want as your Bebo profile picture. Yes, Bebo, it was 2009 after all. Ask your parents. While Captain Soak McTavish is a straightforward pick amongst the beloved characters of the time, he becomes a playable character for the final few missions of the game, so instead we turn to Ghost. Lieutenant Simon Ghost Riley is a British soldier and member of the task force who wears a skull print balaclava at all times. Silent but deadly, Ghost is a masked man of few words and many actions, helping you storm favelas and remote safe houses with a well-stocked arsenal. Frankly, a true badass loved by all. Savage then that, spoiler alert for a 15-year-old game, we are made to watch helplessly as Ghost is executed by the turncoat General Shepard during the game's final act. Fans were aghast and outraged, and while it will never be the same, he has at least been resurrected in the new generation of Modern Warfare games thanks to his overwhelming popularity. Number 2, Leonardo da Vinci, Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood. Assassin's Creed, like Call of Duty, may now be better known for its repetitiveness, coasting by on an all too similar model for many years, but once upon a time it was a revolutionary experience. Pairing parkour with historical storylines and settings, Assassin's Creed 2 built on the original's breakout success and expanded the possibilities with new combat features, clever weaponry, and even a few real-life characters, including famed polymath Leonardo da Vinci. The second game takes us back to Italy during the Renaissance, where we play as Ezio Auditore da Firenze, a young assassin caught in a web of plots involving the Templar Order. Of course, Ezio requires a few hints, tips and tricks to get by, and who better to turn to than Leonardo, who helps engineer and build the weaponry and other devices that Ezio needs to fulfill his destiny. Leonardo is suave, stylish and charismatic, and every time he appears on screen we know we're in safe hands, which, considering how much of the game's plot revolves around misfortune and double crosses, is a welcome reprieve. More than a passing fancy, he appears throughout this and the next game Brotherhood, and he even turns down an invite into the Assassin's Order, preferring to fly on his own breeze. What a guy. And number 1, Johnny Gat, Saints Row. Since 2006, the Saints Row games have made their name on not next-level graphics or mechanics, but sheer insanity, taking the GTA model and dialing up the weird. And we've been with them every step of the way, playing as members of the 3rd Street Saints as they have risen and then fallen, risen and then fallen, and then risen again, and you get the idea. While the series boasts innumerable colourful characters and rarely a dud among them, the undeniable GOAT is the boss's second-in-command, Johnny Gat. As fundamental to Saints Row as pixelated nudity, weaponized dildos and ragdoll physics, Gat is always on hand to whip out a weapon and crack wise. He also always comes equipped with his rock-hard hairdo and shades, and is far and away the most memorable character of the series. He's kind of like a cartoony Albert Wesker, and Wesker was already pretty cartoony. We thought it was all over when he got run through with a katana in the second game, and we were ready to salute his coffin and press F when he sacrificed himself in the most noble way possible by going down with the depressurized aeroplane in the third, and yet he's never actually dead, just, fighting his way through hell or abducted by aliens. The biggest pity of all is that Volition decided to put the character on ice for the 2022 reboot, and given that the studio has since been shut down and the game didn't perform all that well, we might never see Gat again. Hey, speaking of beloved video game characters, here's a video on screen now of 10 video game characters you desperately tried to save, but you couldn't. Thanks for watching this. I've been Cy for What Culture. Have a good week.